Okay, today is September 14, 2022. This is the meeting of the Container Storage Interface Community. So we've got at least one item on the agenda today. First up, we have volume group PR from Shing. Shing, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah. Yeah, can you open that? So yeah, basically trying to bring this feature to alpha in under 26. So have this up here for review. Right, so you can see that.
Anything particularly controversial or anything that you want to discuss?
Well, so I think probably need to look at the cap for the the overall end-to-end workflow. But basically here, maybe let me look at my screen. Look at your screen. So,
Yeah, feel free to share your screen if you like.
okay, yeah, maybe it's easier. I share screen. Right. So basically here we introduced a few new RPCs. We have RPCs to create a new volume group, create a new volume group snapshot, and also modify volume group, delete volume group, and delete volume group snapshot. And also there are a few list and get APIs. So yeah. So there is I think because the whole cap is pretty big. There are a lot of things we want to add there. So I have separated them into phases. So if you look at the create volume group request, I have a few things. I just mark them as phase 2 because otherwise I think there'll be too much. This is mainly the phase 2 is mainly for the restore time if you want to create a volume group from a volume group snapshot. So that I put that in phase 2. But probably should not be included in this PR, right? That be otherwise may be confusing. What do you think? So
Probably just remove it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So basically, at the restore time, this is going to be you create a volume group first, and then you create a PVC from a volume snapshot. Restore that way. And also, there's somebody was asking about clone. It's not just like as we do volume cloning. There's also volume group cloning. So that's also something we could potentially support in the future, which I have not included yet, but that's also like a phase 2, phase 3 thing. But other than that, I think this looks pretty much like our real RPC. So response. In the response, we just have the volume group ID, the context, and then this one would also have the the volumes that is in this group. Of course, initially, if you just create an empty one, then this one would be empty. So yeah, I'll clean up the thing and remove the phase 2. Delete and modify. So for this one, basically, yeah. So basically, we'll be look at this one. You can either add volumes or remove volumes from this one.
And volume group starts off as empty.
Initially, right. So when you create it, it's empty, and then you can create a new volume, specify a volume group ID, and basically then that will be added to the group, or you could add an existing volume to a group as well. And then we talked about having some like in the controller, we'll have this logic. We kind of watch the individual volumes getting added. But then when we really doing the operation, we're doing a bulk one for efficiency. I think we talked about that early on. That's why this is this is like a modify group request. So this could have multiple volumes added, because for a storage system, it will be more efficient if you can do that with multiples rather than you just add one at a time. This is a specific request raised by someone during the CAP review process. And yeah, so do you have both get and the list? This for volume, we initially only have a list, but then later we added the get. So I thought we should just have both. And then same thing for the list, for the snapshot, group snapshot, same thing. There's a get and there's a list. So for create volume group snapshot, this is similar. This is just you have the source volume group ID, and then the volume IDs, secrets.
And are we requiring any sort of relationship between the volume and the volume group from the CSI perspective, or letting the storage system decide that? For example, if you add a volume to a volume group and then you go and delete the volume, what happens? Is that behavior that CSI will define, or we leave it to the storage system to define?
So that will be, you basically remove that one, right? So if the volume is in a group, if the PVC is in a volume group, then you will need to remove that one from that group first. So you don't, or the other way is you can delete the volume group together with all the volumes, but at least the current design is we do not allow you just to delete like one volume that is from the group. You have to remove that from the group first. This is just to avoid.
That something we kind of enforce or mandate in
right. I think that we need to reinforce, because otherwise I think could cause problems if people set up those volume groups, then they somehow forgot and then suddenly it's not protected anymore. They thought it's still there. Right. So I think we need to have some webhook or something to prevent that from happening, or maybe enforcing the controller. So that's something we will need to prevent.
It could start as just a comment as a requirement, and we don't have to enforce it in code. We could just enforce it in the contract.
Okay. So you're saying this one we should add this in the.
Yeah, we should add that as guidance
okay.
in one of the comments
Maybe,
to say, here's the expected behavior.
Okay, maybe just add it here. Maybe add it in the create group. I'll just add it in the top. Let's add
And deleting of the volume group. Sorry, deleting of the volume group, does that delete all the volumes inside of it?
Yeah, that's the, yeah,
Got it.
did everything.
Okay, looks good. I'll help review offline.
Okay, thank you. Oh, maybe I should also go over some of the capabilities. So a lot of capabilities, basically, I just thought it's easier if we just have more fine granular control. So this is straightforward, and then this is for add remove existing volumes, because not every storage system can support this one. So this is a separate capability. This individual, so this is like if you create a one group snapshot, and that will also generate the individual snapshots. It might be useful to just restore one particular snapshot. So it's this one. So it's a separate capability. And okay, the get, and those are straightforward. List, this is straightforward. Oh, okay, yeah, so this is just
Matt, have you had a chance to look over this yet?
Only superficially. It's, I mean, broadly it seems okay. I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to start to use it in practice. I think, I mean, it makes sense. I think there wasn't it like, I guess this question to Jing is was there anything particularly surprising you feel here in the design?
No, there was one thing. I think I also mentioned that in the 6:30 meeting, right? It's mainly I think Jean has this concern that we are having two API objects, so not strictly on CSI side. CSI side seems to be, I think, looks very straightforward, I think. But it's more on the Kubernetes side, where we have like a voting group and a voting group content that represents a group, so two resources. So it's basically the same model that we have for PV and voting snapshot and voting snapshot content. So we have the same thing for voting group and voting group snapshot. So I think her question is, can we just have one API object to make it simpler? So I did talk to a few people who have already implemented this one. So some people are okay just with one, but others, they do have the requirement to support the static provisioning for migration and replication cases. So for that reason, I think we still need to have this, two object model.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, having the sort of static escape hatch solves a lot of problems in practice. Yeah, I mean, I kind of see that concern is there's stuff that can crop up or around reconciliation and such where things aren't consistent. But like, I mean, that was kind of what I was alluding to, where it seems okay, but we'll have to see in practice if corner cases come
Right,
up.
it's probably like implementation time. Need to be careful with that reconciliation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think having the get call can kind of solve that in practice. Is then your controller just tests to do gets to wait until stuff is all consistent and set before, you know, it can proceed. So I think in practice that'll be okay, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's good.
Thanks, Shing.
Thank you.
So we want to target this for the 126 release, hopefully with plenty of time to be able to actually integrate it into the Kubernetes side. So anything else? Sorry, go ahead, Shing.
Nothing else. I think it's so a lot of this, I think, the only challenging thing I think is we do have some in-tree changes proposed, but that's more like the Kubernetes and not really CSI side. So like for example, the PVC, right? So we're proposing to add a ID of the group. So that type of thing, right? But that's the in-tree core API. If it's completely CRD outside our tree, it'll be easier. So there are a couple of small things. I
mean, worst case scenario, we still cut a 126 and we just, we cut a new CSI version, but instead of putting it in 126, we put it in 127.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for CSI probably it's okay. I was just that part was, and also I don't know if people will accept that if we just start by just using like annotation. So right now, the proposal is to have that as an in-tree field, but I don't know if to start this, it makes sense to start as an annotation. So this way, at least it's everything is in Kubernetes CSI repo, not in tree. But that's something maybe we can discuss during the CAP review.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay.
Any other topics for folks today?
So when do we need to cut this? So I think still have a lot of time, right?
I think we've got plenty of time. If I remember, December timeframe was code freeze.
Right. Is that December or November? I forgot.
Let me double check. All right, so we have code freeze on November 9th, and then release day is December 6th.
Okay.
So actually maybe not that much time. So ideally sometime in October.
And also there's the KubeCon, right? KubeCon is end of October. It's KubeCon time normally is a little bit hectic. So.
Oh, do you remember what dates KubeCon is?
KubeCon is the 24th.
All
October
right,
24th is the first day of KubeCon.
Okay.
Should we try something like
before
that maybe? Because after that I'll be very close to the Kubernetes release, right? Code freeze.
Maybe mid-October, so October 17th, the week of the 17th.
Right, and I think there was a couple of other changes we want to get in. I think Herman has something. I also have another one, but I think it's up. I need to run some tests for that to address the comments.
Makes sense.
Okay. So I see Michelle is there. Hey, Michelle, we were just talking about the volume group. So I'm trying to bring that in as an alpha feature in 1.26. So I submitted a CSI CS back PR. So we were just talking about that one. Hey, thank you. Please help with reviews.
Yep, will do.
All right, any other topics from anyone? All right, we'll end early and give folks time.
Oh, 1 minute actually. I actually forgot. I should also pin the there's a a few people are working on CPT as well in the data protection working group. So I need to pin them. I think they also need to submit CSI spec.
Got it.
Yeah, they have not submitted. I think they do have a CAP, but because that also has a CSI component there.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more feature. I think the access mode stuff. I talked to Chris and he said he should have time this cycle to move that to beta. That might require also CSI changes. To go from,
You want to move that to GA? Because I think in CSI basically we just go from alpha to GA, experimental to GA.
okay, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I think timelines to keep in mind is kind of mid-October is when we want to cut a CSI release. So ideally before that, get your changes reviewed and approved by then.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the question is, so, okay, the CSI spec only has alpha and GA. So
Right.
what do we want to do for like Kubernetes beta? Do we want to keep it in alpha and only move it to GA when it's Kubernetes GA?
I think we should
So-
push it to GA on the CSI side because Kubernetes beta is a stronger guarantee around API compatibility. What do you think?
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I
what
think-
that's what I'm trying to do for the boarding house anyway. That because that's also we're just targeting beta, but I'm trying to move that the CSI side to GA in this release. So looks like we have quite a few, 5 things at least,
Be a good
5
release.
features targeting.
Shane, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So in the initial alpha release, you're going to support snapshots of the volume group. Have you given any thought to, could vendors use this for replication before you add the replication support formally into the volume group snapshot, or what does our transition plan
Yeah.
look like?
Oh, so replication, that will be like the volume group, right? You don't really need the volume group snapshot. So the volume group is designed for that purpose. So that should actually work. You can maybe help with the review the cap and see if there's any issues with that. The volume group should be very generic. So that you can also say, I think right now we just say supports a group snapshot, but then in the future we can add another capability for replication, like group replication. That's another capability. But then that group can be used for replication. It's the same group, right? It's just we just add another parameter. Just say this one supports replication. I think it's that should be in the class somewhere. The group one group class, something like that. Yeah.
Maybe I missed some other discussions, but at least I'm not clear how the group concept helps with replication right now.
Oh, right now it's kind of tailored for volume group snapshot. We didn't really write much about replication. I just have one line there saying, in the future it could be used for replication. The volume group concept in general in the future can be extended. So you could have like in the volume group class, you can add another capability saying replication.
Yeah, I guess I just wasn't. It's not clear to me how like a group concept helps with replication, because usually with replication you want like source and target kind
right.
of
You need to have
relation.
both. You need to have two, right? So like one would be like the primary, the other one would be a secondary. I don't think there's a lot of details on that in here, but I've done this for. I mean, not this project, for other project, which is you kind of have this generic group concept first, and then that can be extended. So I think should be fine. But you do need to have like other APIs, like you need to be able to support failover and things like that, right? So those are
I guess APIs. Yeah, I think my question was like, I think for replication we want to figure out like single volume replication first before we even think about a volume group replication.
Yeah,
that's I don't think that's a good idea because a lot of the hardware is based around group replication. So we have, for example, a CRD that represents what we call a protection group. And then that protection group is mirrored. There's one on the source side and one on the replica side. And I'm wondering if we can migrate to the migrate it to the volume groups before in the interim as a transition.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like kind of both ways, right? Because I can definitely name some examples of where it's like it's the primitive is a single volume replication, right? I think it's I've seen both cases, so
Right. I'm sure both cases exist, but I'm saying this would be useful for us in that context as well. And that's why I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but it is true. Normally, like normally we'll support like individual volume replication first, then the group replication. Definitely, it's you know, storage systems can support both or only support one. Yeah, but for this you know, volume group concept, I do have that. I definitely have that replication in mind. That in the future we want to extend that to support replication. It's just that we can't really add those in the cap. The cap is already huge. There's no way of merging people adding more things.
Yeah, I get
make
that.
it smaller, not bigger. Yeah. So if you look at the group volume group right now, it's very, very simple. There's not much there. So definitely we could extend that to support group replication. Basically, just need to add some, you know, some other parameters on top of that. You know, but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Right.
All right, good discussion. Anything else on either volume groups or timeline for next CSI release or anything else on anyone's mind? Going once.
So will there be a vote for this functionality on the CSI spec?
There's going to be a PR checked in, and folks are welcome to come and review it until it gets merged. So if you have any interest in it, please help review the PR.
Okay.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and end it today. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care.